Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. This is Katie. I'm your host. I'm so happy to be here. If you are listening live, it is June 1st already. What the hell? I know we say it all the time, but man, how can we be almost halfway through this year? How? Here we are. It is about 11 a.m. Pacific time. I'm just so happy to be here. I want to let you know I'm over in the chat room. And you can find that by heading over to 12radio.com. Click on the chat button and you'll be redirected into the Facebook chat. You can see my banner at the top of the page, and that's where we are chatting. You can also watch the live stream. You can do that by heading over to YouTube or Facebook and look for Katie Weaver Domestic Mystic, and you'll find my accounts there and you can watch the live stream. So totally up to you. I know some of you do one or the other, or sometimes both, or whatever. I'm just happy to be here. So I hope that you guys are having a good week thus far. I hope you had a good weekend. What did you guys do? Did you do something for Memorial weekend? Did you have some fun? Did you stay home and avoid people? What'd you do? We went camping. Well, first the kid graduated from high school. The youngest, we've been talking about that. And yeah, so graduation was Friday and it was great. She was, the way she always is. She was beautiful and fun and, it was great. It was fine. And, it's funny. I think when my first kid graduated from high school, it was like an emotional experience, And then when my second kid graduated from high school, maybe that too. And with this one, man, you change. Like, don't get me wrong. We're proud of her and thrilled for her and, we're happy to be there and all of those things. But it's definitely not the, almost bittersweet grief stuff that the oldest graduating brought up in me. I guess because with the oldest, you're more afraid of what you don't know, And I guess so that's where it's at for me, I think. You're a little afraid of what's coming. You don't know. And, with her, we've already done this twice. I have a pretty good sense of what's coming. So I don't really have a reason to be freaked out, I guess. I think that's part of it. Yeah. So I shared a picture of her right after graduation. One of the fun things about graduation this year, it has always been at a local college in the past, and they are very strict. And so even as people coming to watch, you're not allowed to wear shorts, you're not allowed to show your shoulders, you're not allowed to, they want you to conform to their religious standards in order to come into their building, which, is their right, but you're always kind of on edge. But they have a lot of rules too, like they don't want a bunch of celebratory, they want it to be more reverent, more church-like. And now they are doing it in their own stadium. So they just built this amazing, many $million football stadium. And now they're actually doing graduation at their house in their own stadium. And it was a lot more laid back. The rules were a lot less strict. And it was just nicer, to be honest. It was really just so much easier and easier to get in and out of and funner and just a lot less tense and uptight. So anyway, I did enjoy all of that for sure. And then we camped all weekend in that same place we like to camp. You guys, I've told you about it for years, but it's a beautiful spot that is near the cemetery where my folks are buried. And we camp there every Memorial weekend, and it was just, we had a ton of fun. It was really nice. The weather was fantastic. And it's kind of funny because camping up there on Memorial weekend is literally always a crapshoot, always. You do not know what you're going to get. It could be raining or snowing, or it could be gorgeous, or you could have gale force winds. You may get a little of all of that, But lucky us, it wasn't doing any of that. It was actually just beautiful, beautiful weather the whole time. So I'm sharing a couple of pictures so that you can see. One of the really cool things up there is that there is a tree, a really big old tree that an old poplar that had, or no, I'm sorry, it's a cottonwood that has a big hawk's nest in it. And we've camped here since I was a kid. So, I mean, we've been camping here for, maybe 30 years. And that hawk's nest has always been there, always. And when I was younger, you'd always like see the hawks, swooping around and getting into everybody's business. They didn't love us there, but we've always been super respectful of them. But it's just always been a part of, going up there. So this time, the hawks were there, of course. I have to believe it's probably like I don't know, hawk family, that's been coming back there for many generations. And my picture kind of sucks because I had to zoom way in, right? Because this is a super tall tree. But you can just make out the outline of Mama's head and the chick's head. But it's just so cool. They had 2 chicks, and with binoculars, you could see them really well. But just so cool to see those downy little white-headed babies peeking their heads over. And they always worry about our chihuahuas up there because, for good reason, we have tiny dogs. Scott thinks we're insane that the hawks would never steal our dogs, but we're always really careful because what if, that's horrifying. But that's where we spend our weekend. But I also shared a headstone with you. So this is really near where my parents are buried, and we go up there, to the cemetery every year, of course, and do all of the cemetery stuff. And I apologize, this picture too, wow, my camera is struggling or something. But because my parents are buried there and my grandparents are buried there, I've been visiting the cemetery since I was a kid. I've just really grown an affinity for certain graves there that just always grab me. And so completely on the other side from where my family is, there is this row of babies. And so I shared the headstone of one of them. I actually snapped a pic because the headstone is broken, and I wondered if there's anything that could be done about it. But you can see the little broken side of it. There's actually 6 of those in a row. And they all have the same last name. And they were born within a year or 2 of each other, like all in a row. And they all died either as stillborns or within like the first 4 weeks or so of life. I think the longest any one of them lived was like 9 months. It looks like it's the same parents, and they just lost one baby after another, and all of their little headstones are right there. And this is from the early 1900s, so very long time ago. So it could have been a time when there was a lot of illness. It could be that they had some kind of a syndrome or something that, bad genetics there, that they weren't really able to have healthy babies. It could have just been poor health care. It could have been a lot of things, in 1900. But those graves just always grab me. A lot of times I'll put a rose or something on them, and I just always have to grab those and give them a little extra love. So anyhow, I'm sharing that one with you. Her name was Alex Carey Heath. Yep. But those and many others, headstones that we just have to go see every time. My kids are like, you've seen these headstones, like a lot. Do we have to do this? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. You'd think they would know me by now, right? Anyway, so that's how we spent our weekend, and it really was awesome. Mary said, when we drove the first 2 to college, I cried. By the 3rd, it was like, bye-bye. By number 4 and 5, I was like, don't you have a ride? Same for me, Mary. Very much the same. Yep. Oh, I will never forget when we first dropped Micah off, and he wouldn't let us help carry anything into his dorm room. He literally just was like, okay, bye. And I was like, well, can we carry your stuff in, help you get settled? Nope. No, you can't. He's like, my roommate's already up there. He doesn't know you guys. I don't want to weird him out. Nope. Nope. I'm set. I can do it myself. Oh my God, it nearly killed me. Nearly killed me. And then with Matea, hers was a little different situation because she didn't move into dorms. She moved right into a house with a roommate, two roommates that were already making plans to go get coffee and go check out campus together. And I felt so much better about leaving her and in that situation. And with Mars, I know I'm kind of along those lines too, that except for that we're actually working on making plans to buy a house. We're really seriously considering buying a little house in the town where Mars is going to school, and so that we have a place to be when we want to go and spend some time and go to her games and see her, and then Airbnb it out. There's quite a few other families from Southeast Idaho who have kids going to that school, so we thought that maybe we could kind of be a resource for each other. So that's what we're thinking about. So we might be around a little more for Mars's deal. I don't know. We'll see. Definitely see how it all shakes out. But all right. So a couple of you have asked me how I'm feeling. I am feeling much, much better. Yeah. Even with camping and probably pushing a little too hard. We had a batting contest. I didn't bat very well, but I did bat. But I do feel better. And thank you. I think I am sounding quite a lot better. So, yep, we'll take it. It's all good. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you, Sid. She said Mars looks like a fashion model in her grad pic. She makes it easy, man. Yikes. Anyway, so that's what's new in my world. I saw quite the standoff this morning between a little cat and the crows. So I had gone out and fed the crows and called them. And they'd both been in the feeder eating, and then they were in the tree right by the feeder. And I heard one of the crows screaming bloody murder. And I was wondering if it was another magpie, because we had a magpie standoff last week. No, it was this little gray cat. Not a kitten, but not an adult, like a little adolescent. Darling little gray, like tuxedo kitty markings, only they were gray, not black. Beautiful kitty. Anyway, and there is a lot of bird or cat food in the mix that I feed the crows. The crows love the cat food. It's the first thing to go when I feed them. Then the sunflower seeds, and then the peanuts. But when I first started feeding them, it was the peanuts that went first. So I don't know. Maybe they got tired of them. But anyway, they were absolutely shrieking their heads off at this cat. And now she wasn't anywhere that she could hurt them. And quite honestly, I kind of doubt she could anyway, because they're huge, But they did not like her being up there. So she circled the feeder. She jumped up there. She sniffed around for a minute. I don't even think she ate anything. She just kind of sat there and looked at the food for a minute. And then she got down and left. But she went under one of the pine trees, and they yelled at her for like 15 more minutes before she finally went back across the street to her house. But they're really getting territorial about their food thing here. So I'm probably creating monsters, you guys, is what I'm doing. But what can I do? They're cool. And see, I'm quite sure that they have a nest. And so really hoping at some point we're going to see their children coming to the feeder. So we'll see. Yeah. Oh, Sid said, would I still do my shows from the weekend house? Yeah. Yep, that's the plan. We would have to have really good internet so that we could both still work. Because, Scott and I both can work anywhere. So it wouldn't be hard for us as long as we have good internet and a decent spot to set up. We should still be able to just do what we always do. Yeah. Yep. That's the plan. We'll see how it all plays out. I'm hoping it all works out, but I'm also trusting that the right thing will work out here. And if it's meant to be, that it'll work out easily and well. And if it's not, it won't. And that'll be my answer. So, yeah. Because I'm thinking, we could go stay there a week or two at a time and then be back to our house. Because the idea of the house was so that the pigs could come, because leaving the piggies is hard. And this way they could travel in crates and come and live in the other house. It would do some adjustment for them. They don't like change very much, but they also don't like it when we're not home. So hopefully we could work out a system and something that, works for them and works for us. And it will probably take a whole lot of animal communication skills here. Yeah. All righty. Well, let's take a look at Luminous. So Luminous is the magazine that I publish on Tuesdays with the help of my friends. There's some good stuff in Luminous this week. I think, I might be a little prejudiced, or biased, I guess, but I am going to do readings today for sure. So if you want to put some reading requests up in the chat, that would be awesome. All right, so I just listed or posted in both chat rooms Luminous, but you can also find it if you just go over to katie-weaver.com and click on the Luminous magazine button. All right, I had to do pansies today on the cover. Aren't they pretty? My mom loved pansies. I put pansies on her grave and my grandma's and my great-grandma's. They are my favorite, and they were my mom's favorite. So I put on hers those ones that are yellow and brown, and then also some of the purple and white ones, but I love them. They're so happy. All righty. So I called the magazine this week the Creative Genius Edition because the collective energy is actually swinging back towards some really creative energy, which I don't know about you guys, but I'm happy to hear because I feel like I've been a bump on a log for months, not really creating anything, not doing much, just mostly driving myself crazy. So I'm excited. I'm very excited about the idea of being able to create a little more and do a little more. So that's where it's at for me. And I know lots of you guys have creative endeavors as well. So get ready because creative energy is actually really peaking again. I can't wait to see what you guys all do, honestly, because you guys are so brilliant about the stuff that you create. Okay. In my musings this week, I shared a summer checklist. I put some time into thinking about things that I really want to do this summer, especially because last summer we were kind of stymied, And so I was thinking about what are my priorities? What are things that it's just not really summer if you haven't done this, What is summer for you guys? Now, I know some of you guys live in places where it's the heat is so prohibitive in the summer. You probably do more stuff in the winter. Where I live, we have to cram a whole lot of living into a few months because the weather's not very fair about it at other times of the year. So on my short list, go to the drive-in. Do you guys still have drive-ins where you live? I know they're kind of an old-fashioned thing these days, but we still have a very fun little old drive-in, and they have like a greasy spoon diner inside, and it's so much fun. And so going to the drive-in is definitely on my list, especially because that's a great way to go to the movies and be, safer from other people's germs and chaos. So that's what I'm thinking about. Camp under the stars, already done, but I'm going to do a whole lot more of it. Spend time in the garden. I really need to spend some time in my front garden, especially, and work on some stuff there. And I think getting outside and getting my feet in the dirt is something that I really need to focus on. Pack a picnic. Well, as it so happens, we're planning on going to Yellowstone on Sunday, and I could not be more excited about it. I have been trying to get to Yellowstone for 2 months, but we've just been so busy. I just can't justify a whole day away. But finally, I think I've got my opening. And so people are seeing bears in Yellowstone and Teton National Forests, or Targhee National Forest right now, like right and left. It is the right time. But there's this really famous bear that is up kind of in the Targhee National Forest, which borders on Yellowstone. There are two national forests that butt up against each other. And she is known as 399. And 399 is 25 years old. And she has had a ton of cubs over the years. And she had quadruplets last year, kind of late in the season. And she still has them with her. So at some point, bears will boot their babies, and run them off and make them have to start being standing on their own 4 feet, right? But at any rate, she still has all 4 of them with her, and so they're like teenage bears. So honestly, pray for $3.99 because she's cruising around there with 4 teenagers, and that cannot be fun. But anyway, I digress. So $3.99 has been really prolific this year. Everybody's seeing her and those babies that I really want to go see them. So I don't know if I will. It's such a crapshoot. You might see a ton of things. You might see nothing. I have friends that every time they go to Yellowstone, they see a bunch of bears, they see wolves, they see all kinds of stuff. And I'll be like, I saw a moose and some bison, so we might get lucky, and then again, we might not. But I'm so excited to finally get to go. So, Sarah said she's going in a few weeks as well. Yes, so much fun. I don't care at all about like the geysers and the hot pots and all of the geothermal stuff. I mean, I guess probably because I've just seen them a lot of times. I am so much more about the wildlife. A few years ago when we were there, we got caught in a bison stampede. And it was one of the coolest experiences of my life. These guys apparently do this twice a day. They move from one area to the other. It's where they do nights and where they do days, apparently. But we heard it before you could see it. We were parked kind of along the side of a bridge, and you could hear the hooves and feel it. And then pretty soon up over this hill just comes this ribbon of bison thundering down. I'll tell you what, that stopped everything. Traffic in both directions was completely stopped. They were so close to my car that you could smell them. You could hear like all of their like grunts and, I don't know, bison noises. And the sound and the feeling of those hooves reverberating on the road, it was so cool. So there were a lot of the bulls were in front, and then there was a lot of the cows and a lot of the calves, and then there were more bulls in the back bringing up the rear. It was so freaking cool, you guys. I hope that happens to me again sometime because that was just the neatest experience. But we had another time when a coyote, just a lone coyote, came out from nowhere in front of the bathrooms. We were stopping at some bathrooms, and he was just lurking around. It was so weird. I was hoping he wasn't sick or something because he was too close to us, and he wasn't naughty. He didn't, do anything to us or anything, but he was just a little too close. I was trying to decide, is this, is this like a spirit message or is this rabies? But I've never been that close to a coyote before though. And he just lurked around the whole time we were there and then he left. It was kind of cool. So anyway, I'm excited to go. All right, so back to the summer checklist. So take a road trip. Well, obviously we're going to be in Montana a fair amount this summer, but Christy and I are also planning another cemetery tour coming up. We're going to go to the Boise area to Idaho City. There's some really, really cool, really old cemeteries up in there that are from Gold Rush stuff. And I'm really excited to go to those. So, and probably more. We'd like to do multiple cemetery tours this summer, but we needed the wheel to stop spinning quite so fast so we could. But that's coming. Hello, Donna. Nice to have you. And JR. Yeah. Anyway, excited. All right. Read books cover to cover and take late night walks. I like walking after the sun goes down and things cool off. And, it might not be safe everywhere to do that. Where I live, it certainly is. But I love late night walks. But let's talk about books. I'm curious. I get my best book suggestions from you guys. I am definitely not the president of the Oprah Book Club because I have a hard time finding something I want to read. And then I ask you guys about it. And what do you guys do? You always suggest me all kinds of really awesome books. So I would absolutely love to know what you're reading. Anything interesting? I was looking at the author of The Secret Life of Bees. I think I might just reread The Secret Life of Bees, actually, on one hand. I absolutely loved that book, and I don't know. I've been thinking about it lately, which probably means it's just time to reread it. But hello, Kayla. But at any rate, I was just curious to know what you guys are reading, if you have any good recommendations for me. So drop them here. I know what happens. You guys start throwing out all what you're reading, your book suggestions, and then it gives everybody good ideas. So I'll watch for that. You didn't know I was going to give you an assignment today. Oh, Sid said she had one bull charge her. She can't imagine what it would be like to have a whole herd of bison. Oh my gosh, right? And every year at Yellowstone, people get mauled and gored by bulls just by bison because they make bad decisions. There was actually a lady who was charged by a grizzly in Yellowstone. Or no, I think she was actually in Denali, but she got way too close. And it was a bluff charge. She just ran at her and then huffed at her and turned and left. But it's so stupid and so dangerous to get too close, And I mean, I do care about people's safety, but to be honest, I'm more concerned about the safety of the bears. People, or any of the animals, but especially with bears, people do stupid things and they get the bears in trouble. Just yesterday, a bear from the Targhee National Forest was euthanized because there's a lady that lives up in that area who won't quit feeding the bears. And what they say about bears is a fed bear is a dead bear, because if you start feeding bears, they're persistent. They'll just keep coming back. They'll keep causing trouble. So this bear had been fed by a human who thinks it's cool. She lives on the edge of the Targhee forest, and she puts out scraps and stuff, and she likes to come see the bears eat in her yard. It's illegal, and it's really, really stupid. Partly because you could get yourself hurt so easily, or one of your neighbors, someone else. But it's a really bad idea for the safety of the bears. So this little guy, he's only like a 3-year-old little bud, and he got in trouble with food because he'd been being fed at her house, and they had relocated him, and he traveled many, many miles to come back and got in trouble again. And so he got euthanized, and I'm just heartsick about it. But that's exactly what happens. And so anyway, I'm just always going to be, pounding the drum about being really safe and being really smart and putting the animals above yourself and your selfishness, because it's probably more likely that they'll lose their life than you'll lose yours. Okay, Chris says, Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Kimmer. Ooh, I'll take that. Chris always has excellent book suggestions. Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Kimmer. Okay. We will look it up. And, Caitlin said Untamed by Glennon Doyle. You know what? Kelly McLean had that book the other day out when we were doing bibliomancy, and it looked amazing. I definitely need that. I really like Glennon Doyle. I like that she's very humble and real and, not arrogant as hell. I can't do it. All righty. So with all of that said, that's my summer list. So I'm just curious to know what yours is. What's on your bucket list? What you want to do this summer? It doesn't have to be major things. It doesn't have to be super expensive. Maybe it is. Maybe you really want to take a cruise, or I don't know if you'll do that this year. But, maybe you want to go to Paris. I don't know. But then again, maybe you really just want to, eat watermelon. But what is summer for you? I guess that's really my question. What is summer for you? So back to Luminous for just a minute. Sorry, you guys. I think I'm just kind of a case of whiplash today. We have bitch scopes from Kelly, and so much going on in the sky this week. She's got a lot to share. And then, of course, her scopes that are always awesome and fun and funny. Yeah, love it. All right, my tip this week is to support the bees. I share this every year. We talk about it every year. Make sure that what you are planting is bee safe. My best suggestion for you is that you buy your plants at local nurseries and ask them if they have used RSBT or anything that wouldn't be bee friendly. You know, I mean, your very best bet is to get organic plants, but you just can't always. But make sure that you ask what kind of pesticides and fertilizers have been used on these plants. That's really, really important, because we know that some of the stuff they've been putting in the on our plants are one of the biggest culprits of killing off the honeybees. And we also know that without bees, there's no us. So it's an important thing for everyone to think of, like, every year. So some suggestions of things you can plant in your yard that help feed the bees: asters, butterfly bush, butterfly weed, fennel, lavender, bee balm, oregano, sunflower, coneflower, and yarrow. And also, it's brief, but your fruit trees like apple trees, crabapple trees, things like that. My crabapple tree is in bloom right now, and it has got 1 billion bees in it. It makes me so happy. So thinking about, when you're thinking about your landscape, or just even if you're wanting to put some containers together, really consider what you can put out there that the bees would love. We have a huge patch of oregano. And when oregano blossoms, it has these pretty little blue or white or purple flowers, and the bees love them. So that's another one that's easy, because then you've got all that oregano for cooking too. So that one is for sure a thought. All righty. Oh, Sarah said, I remember when they opened the Grizzly Discovery Center in West Yellowstone. It's too bad there was no room for that there in West. I wondered about that too, Sarah, and also Bear World, because Bear World does some rehab too. I know. I agree. It's really sad. I also don't understand how that woman hasn't been shut down. She's been doing this for years and years, and she just keeps getting away with it. And I'm really not sure why. Okay. So there's lots more in Luminous, but I'll let you guys go through it. I did want to share what we have going on with True Crime Paranormal this week. So if you follow True Crime Paranormal, you know that we do, Christy and I have a podcast. We cover a lot of crime. You might also know that during this show last week, I started getting notifications that there was about to be a big press conference in the Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell case. And like, as soon as we got off this show, I had to do a live stream about it, because they finally had murder charges on the table. So Lori's been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, as well as conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and some fraud charges for money she stole from the U.S. government. Chad has 3 charges of first-degree murder, 1 for each of the kids and also for his wife. Finally, there's charges. They're finally saying it. Yes, Cammie Daybell was murdered, and they believe she was murdered by Chad. So that's amazing. And he also has 2 counts of life insurance fraud. He'll be paying back something around the tune of $450,000 for that stunt. But the death penalty's on the table. It's going to be a really wild year. And then on Thursday, Lori was found to be not mentally capable of standing trial at this point, which doesn't mean she won't stand trial. It just, Idaho has no insanity plea. So it only means that she will probably be moved to the prison section of the state hospital where she'll be rehabilitated and then sent back to do the same thing, stand trial. And then directly after that, we learned that they are also, charges are on the table for her in conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in the death of her husband, Charles, in Arizona. So many cards fell last week. It was huge. So I just posted a link to True Crime Paranormal, and you guys can check that out if you're interested. But we did do a Valo wrap-up or synopsis from then to now. This is a really, really detailed case with a lot of players, and it can get really confusing if you haven't been following it. It can get really confusing if you have been following it. So we did a good synopsis to try and help bring you up to speed if you're interested. We also released a case this week about Brittany Williams. She was a child who disappeared from the foster care system and what happened with her case. So that's what we've done so far this week. But we did so many pop-ups last week because they're just, every time we turned around, there was more breaking news in that freaking Valo case. But anyway, we're very, very excited that there are finally murder charges on the table. Everyone has been waiting for a year for those. They found the kids' bodies on June 9th. So it's been a whole year. Well, everyone's been waiting and hoping they'd see those. So finally, here we are. So I know some of you guys have been really interested in that case. But anyway, so that's all I have today for Luminous. I'll let you guys go through the rest of it on your own. Okay, let's see. Pamela said she'd be happy to go anywhere this summer. To the beach, to the White Mountains, Yosemite, and Yellowstone are on my to-do list. Well, you've got to come go to Yellowstone, Pamela. Oh, she hates the term bucket list. Okay, I'll give you that. Sid said she hasn't done fiction in a while, mostly learning and studying books. Rachel Ashwell's Painted Stories. She was the British shabby chic lady, and The Art of Tasha Tudor by Harry Davis. She was the amazing children's book illustrator who was famous for her corgis and for adopting a lifestyle set in the 1830s down to the clothes she wore. Ah, interesting, Sid. Eva's reading Sensitive is the New Strong by Anaya Morhani. She said, can't recommend this book enough for all empaths. Nice. Thank you. That's awesome. I'm going to have to make a list. Yep. All righty. JR said, if you could interview Lori Vallow, would you? Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I'd sit down with Lori in a heartbeat. Mm-hmm. There is, I mean, you have to always, in dealing with someone like Lori, you have to not fall for her hype, right? But I think we're beyond that with Lori now, aren't we? Oh, yeah, I would definitely sit down with Lori or Chad. Yep, without a doubt. Yep. I know some people say that they don't feel like they could sit down with either of them because they're so angry at them for the things that they've done. And I think I could take some separation from that to be able to talk to them, because a big reason that I do true crime is because I'm so fascinated by people, you know, and what drives them and what drives them to do the things they do. And I think that being able to have conversations and being able to keep your cool and your head about you and be really thoughtful about conversations with people that have committed crimes helps us to understand how things got to where they are, and hopefully helps us to prevent things like that in the future with a greater understanding of humans, you know, and humaning. So most definitely, I definitely would. Okay. Just peeking into the chat here really quick. Caitlin, I would love to do that reading for you. Will you tell me who Grandy is to you? That would help me a lot. Let's see. Oh, Sid says she needs to take out the out-of-control Spanish needles that she left for the bees in her backyard. Oh, she said they have these sharp, elongated seeds with hooks. that get into socks, dogs, whatever clothing. Yeah, the bees love them, but they are a pain in the butt. Yeah, I wouldn't be a fan of that either. Okay. All right. So let's do some sound therapy. We haven't done it in a while. I thought it would be helpful. One thing that's come up for me a lot lately and a lot of you guys is old grief, old regret, old hurt, like old unrequited love stuff, old lost stuff, even old like shame stuff over long lost friendships and relationships and things where you maybe have some regrets or wish you had done things differently. So I thought we'd do some heart chakra work and do some clearing through the heart to help give you guys some freedom from that. The one thing I know for sure from talking to people all over the world for all these years is that by and large, people are doing the best they can with what they have. Life is hard. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of uphill climbs. There's a lot of uncertainty. Sometimes there's impossible choices where maybe you make the choice that seems right in the moment, and it turns out maybe not to be the best thing, or maybe you don't feel like it's the best thing. But here's the thing, you guys. Sometimes you're just doing the best you can. I think most of the time you're just doing the best you can. And then we look back with regret over decisions that we made, over choices that we made, and there's not a thing you can do. You can't wind back the clock. What you can do is forgive yourself. What you can do is recognize that you did the best you could with the information, the tools, the resources you had at the time. If you are looking back at times where you feel like you didn't handle life well, maybe you were cruel, maybe you were the bully, maybe you were mean, maybe you were combative, maybe you broke someone's heart. Those things happen. And what you can do is learn from them and move forward. That's really all you can do. But beating yourself up, carrying around a lot of shame and grief over old stuff like that, it's just not going to serve you. And I know you guys know that, but sometimes your conscious mind can know things that your heart isn't quite getting the message about. So that's where a little work comes in on our part. So I'm just going to ask you to breathe a little bit here with me. I'm going to play the bowl twice. The first time I play it, I'm just going to ask you to allow the frequency of the singing bowl to permeate your heart chakra and your high heart, and just release anything you're carrying that's no longer serving you. Anything you're ready to release, anything that needs to go, any energy that is still in you that isn't serving your highest and best purpose. So I'll play the bowl, you just focus on your heart and breathe through it, and just really let that stuff go. Intend it. Okay. So this time, I'm going to play the bowl, and I would like you to envision a bright light emanating from your heart, growing brighter and brighter and brighter and completely surrounding you. That might be white, it might be pink or gold, green. I'm not going to tell you. I think it should be whatever color that comes forward. That should be the right thing. But just envision that light emanating brightly until it has completely enveloped you in that heart energy. Okay. And there you have it. That does feel good. I actually felt like that came off of my shoulders more than I felt like it came out of my heart. But that's okay. Whatever you need, right? Okay. Let's take a quick look into the chat. Okay, Mary said Edna Reed. Oh, let's see if Edna Reed is more cooperative. I'd like to know if why my sister and I keep seeing 409. Has it anything to do with her birthday or her date of passing? Let's tune into her. So we talked to Edna a couple of weeks ago. She was a caregiver for Mary and her siblings when they were kids. She's been really active around them lately. So she was a little bit sassy, I would say. I mean, she gave us some info, but not everything we were asking last time. So let's try her, Mary. She's so funny. She said, well, good. I finally got their attention. And then she made some crack about you guys stop talking long enough to get a message. Okay, Edna. So what we wanted to know is what the 4-9 that keeps popping up is about. I think that was her birth date. She's still not giving me much about her death, Mary, but I believe 4-9 was her birth date. She said mostly she wanted to pick a significant number and keep coming through with it for both of you to see if you would see it and, come together on it, because then she would know that you're really getting a good sense of her. So mission accomplished. Yeah. So she wants you and your sister both to know how much she cherished the time that she had with your family. She always felt like you guys were her family. And she's always seen you kids as being her kids in a sense. Yep. Nice. So she's around. She's going to keep, I think, sending messages your way. She's really active and she's doing a dang good job. So we'll see what she does. Okay. Kayla, I wondered about pulling you a card. I think I'm going to use the Gratitude Oracle by Angie Hartfield. Kayla, you feel to me like your heart is just tender. You're such an empath. And I feel like you've had your feelings really hurt recently by somebody in your world that is harsh. Because you're not harsh. You're really soft. And it's one of the most beautiful things about you. So don't change that. Don't feel like you have to change that. But I feel like there's other people in your life that they don't care that their harsh words like hit you hard, really hard. And they think that you should just toughen up and get over it. And Kayla, I want you to know that I feel like you are exactly who you're supposed to be. And that you should not have to temper yourself. You shouldn't have to harden your heart for other people's lack of care. However, I would be really careful about taking on too much of their energy, because I feel like you just have some mean-spirited people around you who just, I don't want to be like that. And maybe you limit your exposure to them. You don't deserve that. All right, the card is the card of wisdom, which makes me laugh because I think that's exactly what we're talking about here. Having the wisdom to know when it's about you and when it isn't, as well as when to draw yourself back from people who really don't seem like they have your best interest at heart at all. So that's my message for you, Kayla, and lots of love to you. Yeah. Donna said, my sister came to me in my dreams. She died in 2003. She was in the clouds. It was really weird. I've seen that lots of times, actually. So the thing is, spirits, they have to learn how to manipulate the energy around them in some way, right? And it takes quite a bit of energy to do that. But clouds are easy to manipulate. And so I've seen that before. That is really cool. You guys, have you ever seen like videos of people seeing like an enormous angel, show up over top of them and stuff? Yeah, interesting stuff. Okay, Caitlin wanted a message from her grandmother who recently passed. Her grandy. I did not know that was a term for grandmother. That must be a colloquial thing for you. Okay, let's take a look. She said, "You're going to be okay." That was the first thing. She said, "I know it hurts. I know it really hurts." She says that you have been a little unsure of what to do with your grief. She says you have grieved harder than some of your other family members or people around you, and you've been kind of not sure why or like what to do with that. But she says you don't have to do anything with it. She said you get to feel your own stuff and you can grieve in your own way. She said try not to be too frustrated with them. They're just dealing with things the best way they know how. But she said she wants you to know that she knows that you're going to be okay and that you need to give yourself some time. Yep. Lots and lots of love from her. I feel like there's a real Spitfire kind of sass box in there, but she's not coming through that way for me today. She really wanted you to know that she wants you to know you're going to be okay. But again, she wants you to also know it's okay to feel that grief in the way you're feeling it. She says that you have been kind of confused about your response versus other people's that have been pretty different. Yep. Let's see if there's anything else I can grab really quick. Let's see, Patchouli Pup. I don't think that the loose teeth have anything to do with her sinus issue. I feel like her sinus problems are really systemic infections that are going to take some time to clear up. But getting the teeth taken care of is definitely going to be important for her too. All right. Pamela's kitty Reese's is not doing well. Let's tune into her. Pamela, I would take her to the vet. I'm really suspicious of her kidneys. I think I have them for a little while. But no, she's not. She's not feeling very good. Okay, that is all we've got time for. So we better go. Oh, Scott did share a video in the chat room for you guys of the hawk, and there's a better view of the cemetery too. He took some video with his drone, so he got way better stuff than I did, but and then don't worry, like the videos that we took of the hawk with the drone, we stayed far, far away, so we were careful not to upset Mama. But yep. All right, you guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. We got to get out of the way and make room for Robert. So don't forget, I'm a professional psychic advisor over at one2listen.com. You can find me over there literally every day, so come see me. I will be back on Thursday for Strange Phenomena and Mysteries at 10 a.m. Pacific. And you'll find me over at True Crime Paranormal just about every day this week as well. So thanks so much for being here. You've been listening to The Katie Weaver Show here on 1-2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.